He is a ball OTP who is top 500 and is apparently silver on Echo and wants to learn Echo. So I'm very interested in this VOD. I know a lot about Echo mechanics, and Flex CPS is my role, so very qualified to talk about this. I think this is going to be really fun because I have no clue what to expect, and we're already on Mertzy's Zen backline, so I'm very interested to see how this game ends up going. Now, if I were to predict what happens in this VOD, we're probably going to see a lot of individual macro decisions that would make sense on the tank, but look really weird from a DPS point of view. He's probably going to take a lot of duels, I bet, that on 225 HP you might not want to take. But I think his like game sense and like overall macro will be like fight timings, and obviously off angling, right? Because everyone defaults in silver, will be so much better than everyone else that he just wins anyways, right? But I'm gonna super hark on the mechanics. I'm gonna super hark on the decision making. Because like if I were to bet, I would imagine you win this game regardless of whether you're good at Echo or not. Especially at the rank that you're at. Not to mention Ball, also a dive character, so there's going to be some fundamental carryover in terms of a dive timing and being reasonable with your engagements. So first fight of the game, and I already see a problem. Now, as far as starting position goes, if I go into third person cam, do you see how loud Echo is? If you're going to do this, it's better to crouch and let the enemy team, like, if they know that you're on Echo, then they have to think about where you actually are, versus if you're just like walking around and not, or like even shooting, punching the wall, there's a realistic chance that she'll just start by peeking the corner because she thinks you're going to be there, right? Versus if you just like shut up, or you glide from up here, go slowly, drop down, pre-fight, it's a little bit more difficult for them to know where you are, where you're coming from, or even if you're even smart enough to know that you're there, period, right? Now, that's all fine and dandy, right? That's whatever, right? But we peek the corner, and there's a little bit of, like, we're using this tree as a cover way to, like, be a little bit difficult to hit. But we are eyeing down Widow eye to eye. If you don't fly immediately, this is really scary. And a 5% better Widow, I don't care if they're silver, I don't care if they're gold, I don't care if they started playing the game yesterday. Majority of players are going to hit the shot here, even if it's a body shot. Right? So going to just like stand still and then pop sticky, I don't like this. I would rather you, if you're going to take this 1v1 on the Widow, which is very risky, but it can definitely work in silver because no one, as you can see, no one is preoccupied. And even though you're taking the duel, the Kiri like looks behind her twice, or to the side twice, rather. And then just doesn't really do anything, doesn't even TP, doesn't help, right? So you taking this 1v1 in silver, actually, I don't mind it. It's just the way that you do it. I think the way that you do it instead is you realize that she's on Widow. So we'll go over to the clip really quick. Okay, speed up. You see she's on Widow here, and then you fly. You just fly directly above her, pop the stickies, you can put it on the doorway, or you could try to like, you can either cut the doorway off, or you can go for the stick on her because she's a stationary character. She likes to scope in a lot. And just like poke her down while flying. You with the Echo in these duels where you're in the Widow LOS, you have to make it difficult for her to hit the shot. So even if you hit those stickies, there's a chance that you die, you know? Versus like if you just fly right away, you mitigate that. You're probably gonna end up killing her anyways though, yeah. There I think I would just fly from the get-go. Yeah, they're just not even gonna do that. So it's just easy cleanup. The rest is just easy cleanup. This is all good. Yeah, I don't really respect the Widow respawn. It's something... It's definitely something to get used to, but not every character in the game is Ball. I don't want to sound like mean or discouraging when I say that. It's more so in like an endearing way, right? Because like you're good enough to just farm all of these players at this like difference in skill, but I think a lot of your mistakes will just come down to you're not used to playing DPS and the level of like corner discipline that it entails, right? Like very used to playing on 1000 HP. So we're coming back to the fight. there I would look to sticky a little bit earlier so that the stickies detonate when the Reaper comes out of the TP. Rather than sticking him, and then as he's coming into the TP and he can already Wraith out, you sticky him, right? Now, it doesn't help that your Mercy is, you know, heal botting, but either way, I think could have done a little bit more damage to him. Then we don't realize that Widow is there again, and we end up dying, right? I think the fight could have also been cleaner. Let me think. If you coordinate with your Mercy well enough, then you can actually use vertical cover, like through here, to get healing and get topped up after that, using your flight, and then look for a conspicuous flank on backline. At the same time, you can get healed and also rotate. And in silver, you're gonna probably at least kill this Widow. Probably. Or get Suzu out and whatever, right? If you go into this room, and you try to use flight cancel, but you look too far down, you're not gonna get to the mini in time, first off. And the Zarya will likely beam you down either way. So I think the only way that you really escape that is by flying up and like chilling here in left building, and your Mercy, like you kind of just hope that your Mercy follows you. Or you could go for an instant flight here, like shift and then double tap shift so you get the flight cancel and momentum, and you fly up this building and you go through Mercy this way. It was a really awkward position for you because you got hit by like a Reaper body shot plus Widow body shot, I think. So, yeah. I think in general though, I would come out of spawn a little bit more disciplined against this comp, especially Widow, and I would look to play this vertical cover here and like just poke. Just poke, 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 poke. And then eventually, once you see an opportunity for the map to open up, you can either go over here, or you can go over here, look for a flank. If not, you can just keep poking here, and then maybe just get a kill off of Rostakis in neutral. Which it's very likely that you could do that against a comp like this, with squishies like Widow and Mercy, when you have a Mercy of your own. Plus Zen Orb, right? It's fine. Okay, we're gonna clear that Reaper out. This is fine. This is good, but again, I would advise caution. This is only working because it's silver, if that makes sense. Now, by all means, continue doing it and get away with it, right? But if you fly over like this, and the Widow is even remotely in the area around here on point, you're probably gonna die. In even like a plat lobby. To Kiri body shot, Widow body shot, whatever, right? And then Zarya like tickles you and you die, right? When you fly up like this. Oh, this is good poking, good distraction value. But just be careful, that's it. And good pick on the Reaper. And Zarya no bubbles, you can definitely burn her. If I'm gonna be super in-depth on the mechanics, try to hold your stickies early on in the Zarya cycle, and just whittle her down with left clicks, and pressure her to use bubble, instead of using right click right away, which gives her an opportunity to bubble it because there's a detonation timer, right? So you pop the bubbles on her, or not the bubbles, sorry, you pop the stickies on her, and there's a 2 or 3 second window where she has time to react and just bubble, and then especially if you're pocketed, the Zarya gets a ton of charge off of doing it, right? So you want to be really careful, and you want to do more so what you're doing right now, just poking her, headshotting her, getting her armor stripped, and when she uses both bubbles, then you want to invest your stickies, right? So you have stickies in a second. I would sticky her right about now. And you could do it by, instead of going through this like closed corridor, which is quite weak with the Echo, because you want to use your mobility to fly around and be annoying and difficult to hit. It's really increasing your chances of dying to random spam when you go into closed corridors like this. On any character that has flight, whether it be Pharah, Mercy, Echo, right, etc., right? So something to keep in mind. I would play this instead. I would like flight cancel over here on the ground, just like glide, and then press double tap shift and go this way, and look for left click plus stickies, and then like beam her. And then I'm chilling on this angle. I can fly over, look for something here. I could fly to castle if I'm feeling unsafe. And I always have the safety net of orb in my Mercy pocket again. Ends up getting the kill anyway, but could be a lot cleaner. Only reason, again, it's working is because it's silver. There, it's just not... When you hear the Widow footsteps that close to you, you have to be under the assumption that she is in this general vicinity, and she's looking down at it. So when you peek like this, just through the corner, you see how awkward that looks? That's only going to work, again, against players who aren't that strong. A slightly better Widow will kill you for that, or at the very least hit a body shot and make you sweat for it. And then maybe you have to pop copy preemptively, you know, which you don't really don't want here. You want to continue to snowball.
Adaptive circuits engaged.
This copy I don't really mind, but I just think the execution of it is bad. But the idea of it's pretty good. So like we make this mistake, okay, whatever. We notice that Reaper's here and he has no Wraith. What I would do is I would shoot a couple of shots into him, as many as I can, and try to greed this echo copy. Right? So if you hear any Tracer coaching, right? Here's a pretty good example of this. If you hear any Tracer coaching, they always talk about how you want to greed your blinks and greed your recall just enough to the point where you don't die for it, but you also like you maintain the absolute utmost uptime that you possibly can, while also simultaneously not dying, right? So in the ideal world, if you can recall at 1 HP, if you can echo copy at 1 HP, then you're getting the maximum value from your kit while also getting the ult out. And I understand it's a little bit different for Echo and a little bit more difficult for Echo because, yes, you're 225, but you don't come out on copy at full HP if you're already like preemptively low as Echo. But here in this situation, I think you can very quickly shoot 1 or 2 headshots, and then the Reaper is half HP, and then you're coming into copy as a Reaper, and it'll only take like a body shot melee to kill him, right? Because he doesn't have what's it called? He doesn't have Wraith. So here I see, oh, Reaper has no fade, and then instead of like flying directly into him, which this is really scuffed, just shoot a couple of shots into him. I probably wouldn't use Echo stickies, but definitely like put a couple shots into him, get him to half HP, and then go, right? Now he's just gonna get healed. We're gonna Wraith in, like, oh, this is okay. And yeah, it ends up working out anyways, but could be a bit cleaner. And this is all good. It's all good. Now here is a crucial part of playing Echo, or playing any DPS character. I'm sure you know this since you play Ball, but the staging process after a one fight, where you can just choose wherever you want to be, can really like dictate the way a game ends up playing out, or like whether you win really hard game or if you win really easy game. I don't know how to describe it. Like, you can win a lot harder if you're thinking in between fights, because you can set up, almost like stage the next play, the next fight to go the way that you want to. So in this scenario, you have options. Either you can go for some type of spawn camp on Widow and try to like get as many CDs as possible, if not kill her, or you could take the safe route and use Mercy Pocket and just like play to farm the fuck out of your copy and do as much frontline damage as possible and leverage this angle of your Sigma and just shoot, right? Like, Echo has surprisingly good poking compared to the rest of the Flex DPS characters. So it's something to think about. Now here we're gonna go left side rather, and we're just gonna kill the Widow, right? Because she's dumb. Like, she has no idea that you're there, and that's really easy. Now we get a nice little crossfire. The good thing about flanking on characters like this is once you get the initial frag, you can just pressure. Now this is good. I would probably save stickies for her movement ability. Not horrible, but okay. And we're gonna leave, yeah. I'll be ready to use flight. There you go. The only mistake you make here is canceling it. So if we go back here to XP this. So we shoot into the Zarya bubble, okay, whatever. Not the end of the world. we fly here, and then we cancel flight a bit too early. And we're also not, and again, this will come with time. The better you get with Echo, the more you'll have a sixth sense for where the walls are when you're flying for vertical cover. And then because you've canceled flight, you're hitting the wall here, and you want to leave, but you can't leave because you're not in a position where you can back into the corner. So you're just like pressing S and you're hitting the wall. And again, a better Widow kills you for that, right? And even if you survive that, you'll probably fall down into the Zarya, and it becomes really awkward for you, right? Like, if you were falling down like this on half HP against the Zarya with bubble that was high charge, you're dead in anything that's not silver. This is good. Kiri's a little bit oblivious, but the aim wasn't horrible. I'll look for the Mercy here. That works too. Yeah, that works too. Copy. Whatever. Just stalling as long as we can. There, it's okay to burn as much of the clock as possible. Like, they're using ults and spawn. Good. And here, I think it's just a little bit of patience in aiming. Initial frag on the Widow is good. She's standing still. And we wait for our sickies for that. Now we're overly flicking here. Like, flick there, flick there. Flick there, and then we leave. I mean, not the end of the world. You gotta pick, right? But, take a little bit more time with the aim in those scenarios. You're not a tracer. You don't just get, like, one tap till you get hit by a Kyria headshot, right? This is good. No, now you fight the Kyrie. Good. I like that you didn't use any of your cooldowns there, because you know you can just burn her with your left click. Gives you the opportunity to use cooldowns on this Reaper. So yeah, there I would fly while you beam, just to minimize the chances of you getting double headshot by Reaper. You know? Might as well. Again, a little bit careful. This is a very ego duel. It does work though, and you know that this Widow is pretty shit, so you get away with it, but I would advise caution in the future. Because eventually you'll get punished for this. I like the position here. This position on Eichenwald, I really like on second point, castle. Once you've won the fight, and everybody stays high ground, and like we're not over here, if we're on this half of it, then you can just chill here indefinitely on any character that has the mobility to get up here, whether it be Sombra, Genji. Genji and Echo especially can very easily flip-flop between contesting backline from this position and potentially deepening over here, and chilling here and shooting whatever's available here, right? And then you always have the avenue of, I can go down with a hard Mercy hit right now, or I could just continue building copy, drop down copy, whatever, right? So, very, very strong position. Plus, it's difficult for the enemy team to get to. This is trolling. This is trolling. You don't have to chase that Reaper when you shoot him. Instead, just shoot him from this position, and then if you want to cut him off, you go this way, and you cut off the direction that he's going. You should have been punished for that, honestly. Yeah, that's normal. I think there you have I think you have a better copy on the Ana than on the Reaper. Just because you come out of it as Echo copy, even if you die. And you want sustain there, right? Because you don't really have support LOS besides Zen on top, which he might send you an orb, he might not. It's silver, you never know, right? But the Ana gives you sustain with the nade, while also, because like, you're directly on top of people, you splash it down and it hits them as well. Versus the Reaper, you're just going to get out sustained in the Reaper 1v1 because he has an Ana. If that makes sense. So if you're going to go for the copy there, I would go for Ana. And then, hey, maybe you build Nano, and then someone who comes to touch on point, you pop it with them, and they're nanoed for at least a couple of seconds. Or you'll give it to them for the health bonus, right? And this is kind of whatever. Once the fight gets to third point, Eichenwald, it's very difficult as the Echo. Very, very difficult. At this point, I would just swap to a Genji or Tracer, like something that's a little bit punchier and more mobile on the ground and more difficult to 1v1 on the ground. Because so many of these angles, you're just going to be fighting the Reaper in a closed corridor like here, where he just has a massive advantage, right? Where you're going to be fighting a Kira, you're going to be fighting an Ashe, you're going to be fighting all of these characters in a very narrow corridor where there's not much space for you to maneuver around the map and outplay them. There is a flanker out here, there is a Mega here, and then once the map like flips over to this side and the cart rolls around here, you do have left side to leverage through. You walk through here, take space here, look for an angle, you have Mega here, and shoot through here, right? This is very ball stuff. Very ball stuff. But I'm sure you can tell that it's a lot harder to push through that area on an Echo than it is on a Genji, a Tracer, or your character, a Ball, right? Very mobile, very tanky. The spam damage that you're going to take on the way is not very scary. But for this character, very, very scary. But we'll see if you're able to make through. The one thing that you do have is a very brawly DPS ultimate and copy. And if you copy the tank, now you got 2 tanks on Eichenwald, right? Very strong. That's good. Now you have coffee, okay. I think I would copy the tank there. I think the Zarya copy is possibly the Reaper is second place. Oh, that's good. Good clip, by the way. The Zarya is the tankiest in a close corridor environment. Plus, you have bubbles to give to yourself and to your team. There, you just don't fight the Ashe like that. There, just like be okay poking her, or look for a better angle to shoot her from instead of like flying directly into her.
Hi. We're outnumbered. Greetings. Hey there.
This is good. Just look for poking. Yeah, that makes sense. Good. See, again, you have to be very careful flying like that. I just think you're not used to having a 225 character. I think that's the majority of your problems, is just like play the character more, you already have a good grasp of the macro. Bubble, yeah, good. Look to copy him if you can. It's fine. You can copy her, yeah. Dynamite. And just spam, spam, spam. Kill as quick as you can. Ideally, you want to build Bob. Oh, unfortunate. I think there you have to really work on building Bob there. No, so yeah, that game. I think towards the end of it, I would swap to a more on the ground DPS character, whether it be Hitscan or Tracer or Genji. And overall for you, I think it would just be literally just play the role more. Play the role more. Mechanics were solid. They weren't fantastic, but considering you don't play any other character but Ball, it's pretty fucking good. I can definitely tell that you're high level on another character. So yeah, I think things to improve on for you would definitely be not taking as aggressive duels on the Echo. You can kind of afford to when you have a copy or you have Mercy Pocket or any type of like healing resources coming your way. But generally speaking, you're not Ball anymore. You're very, very squishy. Very squishy without copy or resources. And even if you do, it's still risky. I would just be a bit more cautious face tanking, because the duels that you're taking, I like. It's just the way that you're doing them is very wrecking ball. For lack of a better word, it's very wrecking ball. But yeah, no, solid gameplay. I think that loss isn't very indicative of your problems as a player. I think that's more so just like, it's silver if shit's gonna happen. You'll definitely climb the way that you are playing right now, but towards Diamond Masters, you probably hit the ceiling by then. Game sense wise, you can definitely make it high enough though. But yeah, just some mechanics things to tune up on Echo. But otherwise solid. Cast on Runosapi playing against Sworn's Ashe. Hits getting Genji Mirror. looks good so far. One thing I'll note about Castle and Ruinous Hoppy is obviously very long-range sightline map as far as push maps are concerned. You have this narrow corridor into very oppressive high ground on the defender side. Once the card pushes past that point, like this first fight is close to medium range-ish with some long sightlines, mainly this area here, or like the space between here and this door. But for the most part, very long-range map, very Ashe favored if you're just looking down main and you fight each other. Very likely that the Ashe against the Cass will win, especially where you're positioned right now. So if you go on a head-to-head duel with her, unless you're on an angle and she's looking away from you and she's preoccupied with fighting the Brawl Core, with Dynamite makes sense, she wants a multi-man Dino. Without that, unrealistic that you're going to get any kills here, so you're more so looking for spam damage on Zarya, and maybe with your Juno Lucio core, you want to leverage some type of brawl situation with a Juno speed ring plus amp, and look for like a close range hit. Because your advantage in this comp, I mean, let's look. Yeah, Ashe, you definitely lose the poke trade. Unless you force a very close sightline. So like if you're able to, maybe you shoot for a little bit here, maybe like you hug the wall, and then you shoot, you look, see what they're on. And then your Ryan goes for a play with like Ring or something, and you can go for a wraparound flank angle, or you could just like follow the Ryan and look for a right click brawl trade and just try to like chunk the Zarya. If you can get a nice cheeky off angle on Brig, Juno, Ashe, any of those characters from here, then you want to do that. But I think playing it safe actually isn't that good in this comp. So I want to see what you do. If I had to guess, you're probably going to play it safe. So this is okay. We're just kind of seeing what they're on. Orion pins in. He's looking to take a fight on Mega. Seems like they're clearing out... Is that Genji? We're doing as I said. We're poking. They realize, oh, maybe I need a dip. This is not horrible. It's difficult for you to take that flank because the Genji's marking it. I get that. I would be more prioritizing taking the duel with the Genji, though. I think right now you're too far away from the rest of the team to get any realistic brawl follow-up. So like your mindset has to shift towards, I need to mark this Genji, I need to mark this Genji. And now that this Genji's hitting you, you're going to attack him, obviously, but... Could be a little bit more focused specifically in taking the 1v1 against him. Once you realize that he's not giving you that space, he's going to fight for it. And like, Genji marking in his own territory isn't that good. He's not a character that particularly, like, he can mark tracers, casts, etc. But he's not fantastic at it. He usually get both of his cooldowns forced, and he's worried about nade. It's unrealistic that he kills you in the 1v1 unless you like hyper overextend. So if you just like, if you're okay with like looking at him and taking the duel, then and like you passively win, as long as you hit your shots, you should be fine. So I think you could have killed the Genji there, maybe even like calm with your Genji to continue fighting him.
Come on, Cole. Try a little harder.
Okay, so fight's gonna swing into the next corner, so we're not able to leverage the high ground as much as we'd like, but that's okay. Now I'd say this is more of a team mistake and something that you'll encounter a lot in ranked. I think if you guys were playing like a Rhine stack in a coordinated setting, then you would try to rotate through left and take a closer range sightline so you don't have to worry about Ashe spam. Because again, if Ashe has a big high ground advantage here, looking at a cast from this position, and you're the only character in the comp that can realistically like poke from medium range, you're just going to lose that trade head to head, right? And the enemy team also has a Genji, which you're also worried about. So I think clearing this Genji out together as a team will be the solution. You're doing it alone, which is totally fine. And you know that like, oh, it seems like it's unrealistic that I'm going to get any value from this position. And you don't know if your team is going to speed ring in or not and like pop Juno, which they do in fairness. But yeah, fighting at the same time as your team, clearing this Genji off of the angle and putting yourself in an angle that's advantageous for yourself against the Ashe. Because let me tell you, it's a lot scarier for an Ashe to fight you here than it is for her to fight you here if she's in that position. Again, I emphasize the Ashe because it's all about the Ashe. It's good that your Genji helps you on the mark. But like your two main goals in this game are A, mark Genji, B, set up yourself in an advantageous angle to shoot the Ashe. And if you can't do that, then just play with the Brawl core, because Cassidy is relatively good. Not as good as like a Mei, but still very punchy. This Noon is good. Good. And then you leave. Oh. This is all fine. Careful with those nades. So one thing that I suggest with nade against Genji matchups specifically is you end up doing it here, but I think it's really scary. You want to try to throw it to either side of the deflect, particularly in the one that he's not pathing to, which you do. But it's like it's very close. Like if you throw it even slightly a bit to the left here, like towards where the Juno is, then it'll deflect back at you. But like try not to splash it on the side or like on him. Rather, even though you can, rather down or up. Again, it really depends on the angle. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, but more often than not, if you throw the nade in the general vicinity of Genji, rather than splashing it up or down using the splash, it's more likely that you get deflected. But there is a mix-up involved where he can double jump and catch you throwing it up, but it's something to keep in mind. You just gotta be really careful, because if he is able to deflect this nade, it's very 2v1able for this Genji if you look at your Juno's HP. You just be a little more careful. And he ends up playing like an idiot, and like, yeah, that's light work for you. Well done. Really good shots. Really good shots. It can be difficult for Zarya to walk up in the cast matchup if you have like Lucio speed or like some remnant of a front line. If it's hard for her to get to you, then you're just eating. You can play at a range where she can't really do damage to you, but you can do damage to her and of course go blow out. I think this is a little bit of an over commitment to off angling on cast to the point where you go flank mode, right? I would say on cast, because you're such, compared to a Sojourn or Soldier in a mobile hit scan in comparison, you want to make your flanks as punchy as humanly possible. So if you're going to justify going on a deep flank like this, you either A, have an escape route, which you do, but it does sacrifice a lot of uptime if you fuck up, or B, you get 1 or 2 picks. That's like the bottom line with the cast flanking. Where I think the pressure here on the Brig and Ashe getting a dino out and like a little bit of attention from her is not horrible, but I would rather you and your Genji's positions to be flopped, where you're more so fighting inside of this Juno Ray, rather than playing for a couple of shots on the Brig, like some pot shots on Brig, and then you might like die to the Ashe or get like cleared out by the Ashe. And then this is more so like your Genji likes this spot a lot more. He can leverage some distraction value, and then he's highly mobile, so he can get out. Versus you, it takes you a lot of time to reposition from place to place. So if you want to flank on cast, you have to always justify it in your head of like, is it worth it to flank here? In the sense of, can I get a kill? Or is the distraction value that I'm getting worth the trade-off of being able to like not do damage for 5 seconds or have to reposition, or like I'm very scared, I'm 1 HP, I need to get healed. And it creates chaos, like your team doesn't know. Not really a mistake, it's just something to think about. And then yeah, there you're just kind of dead. So Echo Swap is actually quite good for you. Yeah. So that's beautiful. That's beautiful. What makes this flank good and the other one not as good is that all of the conditions are met similar to this one, where you're pretty high HP, you have both of your cooldowns, the enemy team doesn't know that you're there, and you're looking for backline, right? But the difference between these two is that you're actually in an accessible sightline for Cass, versus here, it was really difficult for you because you were far away on a slant, and Brig was like all the way over here, right? Versus in this scenario, you're in a range where you can actually be a threat to the Juno, or backline in general, and that lets you get a kill, and then you back off. Yeah, this is really good. I honestly would stay. I don't see much of a reason to leave. You got a kill, leverage the angle. You're 275 HP, you're very tanky, and your Rhine is there with you. I would have stayed. Just try to push as much of a lead as possible. Like, once you get in that position, if you're going to take the gamble, if you're going to take the risk, and it pays off, oftentimes when you flank, you've set up some sort of crossfire on the enemy team, where you have team shooting here, you off-angling here, and then you get a kill, and now the enemy team is sandwiched in between you and your team, right? So they have to choose whether they want to kill you or peel you or your team. And it's just like, it's a win-win-win-win. You just win. Especially on heroes with high mobility, so I get you playing it safe, but yeah, it could have been a little bit bigger. It could be the difference between you getting one extra trade kill or not. Or, not a trade kill, rather, a stagger kill. Doesn't really matter in the end. Spacing noon, I think I would wait for the card to push up a little bit more. Because the enemy team, because they're down a player, they're not really in the mindset of fighting right now. Versus if the bot was maybe around here, then by that point, their team is grouped up, their Juno is back, because she has ring, right? Their Juno is backed up, and they're like ready to take a fight again. Versus here, they were already like repositioning, waiting for a fight to happen. So you doing a spacing noon is like, it's a guarantee that you get more push, more percent. But I'd rather you use it in a more ambiguous situation where it's like make the team make a decision. Because the noon just says, oh, okay, we're gonna chill for 7 seconds. Versus a noon when the fight's about to start is like, if we want to engage at this current moment, we have to worry about Cass, right? They're not really worried about you. They're kind of just, they were already chilling anyways. So I think that's a bit of a waste of noon. Again, noon, very spacing ult. I see that you've taken the 30% bonus, which I like. So using it for spacing purposes when you have the 30% bonus is not that bad. I just think it could have been a couple seconds later. But definitely not the end of the world. High noon is an ability where you're like super rewarded for greeting it anyway, so. This is really good. This is really good, really good. And now you leave. Yep. Even if you didn't kill that monkey, I'm not concerned, because that is a couple of crucial seconds he's out of the fight. There, I think, a little bit of indecision. I would rather you just fight with the Brawl Core. Just fight with your Rhine Shield. It's a very close sightline. It's advantageous for you. If you take an off angle in this like corridor, it is a little bit scary against an Echo, even though you're hit scan, because she can fly around and like use movement to trick, like play tricky, and then she'll just hit sticky, hit whatever, right? And you're worried about like, oh, okay, like do I die in 1v1? Versus like if she's just flying in open space, it's a lot easier for you to hit her. In these like tight corridors, it's easier for her to hit the sticky. Granted, it's easy for you to hit your shots, but like still, it's also just downtime. It's a couple of seconds where you're not shooting here, where you could be, right? If we look back. So your Rhine pins in, and he ends up getting Brig on the ground. And we have Juno help. Like, this is a fantastic situation for you. If you were here, you could just double dink her in the head right here, and she's dead, right? There's nothing that they can do. They can maybe bubble, but I don't think they have it. If they go to Monkey POV, I would be willing to bet he doesn't have it. Yeah, he's 3 seconds off of it, so I think that's a missed opportunity for you frontline. You don't always have to be in the mindset of let me deepen angle, let me flank when a fight's about to start, especially with a Rhine or any like a Sigma, any character that you can just shield and get direct brawl value in front of them. You know, like Cass is very punchy up close. You're gonna end up winning anyway, so it's not a big deal, but again, it could be just a little bit better. You want it to be a bit cleaner. Yeah, I think with you, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but there is a bit of an overemphasis on flanking. Here, I don't mind it as much. You're more so looking for a trade. You know that they have the ult advantage. Your Lucio doesn't use beat because you guys like don't really want to win this fight. You'd rather save for beat blade or a defensive ult usage. Like they use Bob or they use copy or something, and then you pop it, and then it would be okay. It's like yeah, going for a trade kill on the Ashe there, not horrible. Good peel. Noon? Aw, unlucky. Yeah, Noon is just really weird on slants. Sometimes that just happens to you. That's okay. I think your team just doesn't really peel you. It's fine. This is good. Yeah, this is good. It's normal. Final out, not much to say about that.
Can't let them catch up to us.
I think we probably should have said beat and blade, but I get it. Nice. Oh, what was she doing? I have no idea. That was weird. What you did there is what I want you to do more when you're winning a fight and you're swinging up. Is more of this. So you shoot the monkey, and then you like roll to get into closer range so that you're in your breakpoint, sorry, what is it called? Fall off. When you're in your fall off distance with Cass, and just like chase them when you're winning. You don't have to just AFK on bot. Your support's already doing that for you. Just chase. Just try to get as many kills as you can in a snowball-y fight where the enemy team is trickling. Even here, yeah, you can flank. Yeah, I like this. It's fine. Oh, and then yeah, you just rotate back. There, I think that like trying to hide and obscure yourself, I get it. Like maybe someone tries to like swing, maybe an Echo tries to swing and you surprise her by nading her out the corner. But I think the damage frontline would help a lot more than any type of surprise value that we get in this situation, because the Echo is just gonna poke this Rhine down, and she like from her POV, she's okay just spamming. Like she doesn't need to commit to anything. She's gonna shoot at what's available. And in that case, it's shield, right? So the enemy team is burning your Rhine. Your Rhine kind of pins him like a dumbass. Okay, whatever. But here, I would really value you just peeking and then making it difficult for the Echo to land those stickies. Just by, like, poking her. You don't really need to be afraid to peek, nor do you really need to look for some type of, like, isolation play. Like, hiding. Not that valuable at the moment. If you were on the flank, and there was like a really advantageous position to do so, okay, maybe, but you're in the main, so.
Adaptive circuits engaged.
Not a horrible Noon. Good damage on the monkey, go to spawn. Very good that you went to spawn. If you papped even remotely to the left there, like less than you did, then you would have just went off the map eventually. So it's very good. Okay, and that's it. I don't really think that game is your fault. I think there's a lot of things that I notice in terms of flanking that you could do better. of just like knowing when to flank on the cast, because it's very difficult. It takes a lot of time. It's a character. I know you're a one trick, right? And you know the character ins and outs of the character, right? But it's a very unique dynamic compared to any other hit scan. All of the other hit scans have some type of quick mobility option, like especially Soldier and Soj, where they can very easily go in an off angle, and then they're not really risking uptime when they do it in the event that it fails. But Cass being as slow as he is, and Roll being as like clunky of a movement ability as is, it's more so used as like a minor repositioning tool. You have to like constantly be thinking about whether the flank is worth it when you go on them. But I don't know. You got a decent success rate on them. You were hitting shots. Your positioning was pretty good. It's just good, like low top 500 gameplay. It was good, and you understand that you don't want to fight Ashe in the eye-to-eye trade, which is one of the big things that I look for in a matchup-to-matchup basis, where like I can tell that you know how to fight against certain DPS characters. And I think as a hitscan player, the hitscan duel is the main thing that you're looking for. Same thing with flex DPS players, like you're always looking for the Genji 1v1, mark the Genji, mark the Tracer, mark the Echo, right? It's the same thing with hitscan. And you had that down, and I think it's very telling that your game sense is strong when in this first fight here, you did exactly like I thought you would do. So you see with the Ron, okay, our team wants to set up a brawl on Mega. You could go there, but realistically right now, you're not in a position to go, right? It's very difficult. So okay, we're gonna look for an off angle on Brig, and then we're gonna go through here. The Ashe is not looking at me, and we don't really like super commit to it once the Genji shows up. But to me, that it just tells me that you have an understanding of what sightlines are more advantageous for you. And yeah, solid code. I'd say just keep practicing Cass. Try experimenting with him, and maybe give me back a code on a map where it's a little bit more difficult for a mobile hit scan like Cass. Say a map with high ground access where you would much rather play Soj or Flex DPS. Or long range sightline maps, say like Havana, Circuit, etc. Where it's difficult for you against other hit scans to realistically win the eye-to-eye trade. Those maps I think would be a lot more interesting. And yeah.